Oh, remember this from last year? Oh, and remember this? Man, I can't wait for it to start. Rugby. From the top rope. Ooh, can you feel it? The Rugby Championship is almost here, everybody. And no matter how dominant the ABs have been, every time it comes around, I'm jacked. I'm jacked to the tits. Let's breathe and have a look at what's in store for us this coming weekend. Springboks versus Australia. In the Springboks' last match, we saw them beat Eddie's England hard enough for him to lose his job as head coach. 8 months later, and Eddie's up off the canvas, and this time he's in charge of Australia for the rematch. Swap last November's Twickenham Blazers and Ciders with Loftus's Parkers and Brandies, and the Boks will be rating their chances to start Eddie's second innings for Australia with a duck. Our Saffers shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves though. If you had to pick one man to get a team focused on winning a single game, Eddie's probably the guy. Remember Twickenham in 21 or Yokohama in 2019? And can everyone please just let me forget Brighton in 2015? Eddie and the Wallabies have been very clear with their messages since day one. Get the Australian public to fall back in love with rugby union. And the best way to do that is to win. No one eye on the World Cup shenanigans from the men in gold. They are out to win every single game they can. I'm expecting a strong as possible Australian team to come to Loftus, and they will be playing like there's no tomorrow. The Springboks have been thinking about tomorrow since the end of the 2021 Lions series. They'll tackle this championship with the same split squad system they've been using since 2019. The risk of a Wales in Bloemfontein is a distinct possibility. There is method to the Boks B team madness though, and I think it has a little something to do with Regulation 8. Hear me out. Since Jan in 2022, players with, let's say Tongan heritage have been allowed to play for Tonga even if they already played for the All Blacks earlier in their career. All it takes is the correct parentage and 36 months of no international rugby. Okay, with that background, let's have a look at the Tongan squad for the World Cup.
Do y'all ever hear an album and it's just like banger, 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 banger?
That puts the Boks split squad system into a different light, doesn't it? I posit that the weaker Boks squad has been getting more time together because of teams like Tonga, Fiji, and even Georgia. The Tier 2 games in the World Cup are now fraught, my dudes. They are fraught to the tits! The Boks are rolling out Andre and his Giants because they need to build cohesion and be able to beat teams like Australia, or otherwise they could lose to teams like Tonga in the World Cup. That at least is my hypothesis. Regardless, I will be in Pretoria on Saturday. I'll be all parked up and filled with brandies while I hurl F-bombs at mullet havers during the match. A match the Boks should win with home ground advantage. Argentina versus New Zealand. Late on Saturday, I'll drunkenly flop down to watch the Pumas host the All Blacks in Mendoza. As with previous years, the New Zealanders are coming off a successful Super Rugby season, hoping it'll translate into international dominance. Maybe unlike prior years, they will not be looking at Argentina as a nice softball launch for their campaign. All their big dogs were on the plane to South America. To hell with the fact that they're playing the Springboks in Auckland a week later. I am expecting a team with settled combinations in the important areas, with maybe a little experimentation in others. Is it too much to dream for a Stevenson, D-Mac, Narawa back three? No, it shouldn't be. Argentina is at home, and I'm sure they'll want to cause upset number 3 against New Zealand. Then it stops being upsets. They've done it in Sydney, they've done it in Christchurch. Imagine the pandemonium if they do it in Argentina. The only thing going against them is their tendency to bottle their opening games of the championship. What else can you expect though when half the team needs to unlearn French or English or even Afrikaans when they get back into camp? Maybe this year they can hit the ground running and give a probably loaded All Blacks team a good run for their money. I would dearly love for that to happen, so that they can go back on the piss just as they finally cleaned up after that whole soccer thing. So that's what's waiting for us in the opening round of the Rugby Championship. A strong Wallabies side plotting the downfall of the B-Boks, and a probably loaded All Blacks side catching a cold Argentina in Mendoza. News to the tits! SANZAR and the Six Nations on Saturday continued the age-old tradition of sports governing bodies pissing off their fans. The bodies excreted a joint announcement on Saturday that a new World League of Rugby will start in 2026. It will be played in non-World Cup or Lions Tour years. The Six Nations and the Big Four of the Southern Hemisphere are all there. The South will also invite 2 other nations to their side of the globe. Then the 6 teams in the North will travel to the 6 teams in the South, and vice versa, for yearly bragging rights. Where to even start with this? First of all, it's got the word league in it, and there madness lies. Secondly, when the South travels north, it'll all be nice little jaunts across Europe to smash teams week to week. When the North travels south, it'll be arduous long-haul flights from continent to continent to lose because you're still recovering from jet lag you got 2 games ago. Really, we don't know the planned format just yet. But it does seem like Tier 2 nations, Georgia and Chile and those guys, will get a lot less chance to play Tier 1 countries. Overall, plenty to be upset about, so it'll definitely happen then. Finally, fashion. Ever heard of it? It's rugby's 4-yearly fashion show as all the countries are revealing their World Cup kits before the big tournament. We've got tradition from the Wallabies and Argentina. We've got cool new threads from Portugal, and we've got every All Black fan raging at whatever it is Adidas has done. Yeesh. The only thing we don't have at the time of filming is the brand new Springbok jersey from Nike. Let me just do 2 reactions so I can cover my bases. Look at this piece of shit. How hard could it be to make a green jersey with a white and gold collar? There needs to be a government inquiry. Okay, number 2. That is so hot. The Springbok-Nike relationship has gotten off to a great start. I think I love it more than my actual human daughter. And end scene. Okay, all the bases covered there. And this week's Rugby Update has covered enough bases as well. I will see you next week so I can complain to you about the price of a brandy at Loftus.